14th June is the date. Tick tock, the time is ticking. Well, all the best for your exam. And we know that you will do great. This is Hina from Team Walad. And here we are with net cracker question and answers. Of course, the same will not come in exam. But then we assure you that when you will sit for your exam, you'll be confident enough that you have read these authors' names. You have read these works. And we're trying our best to help you. And you are also trying your best to help yourself. So please do not be disheartened. Today's revision series will be based on post-colonial literature. We have put in some questions related to American literature also, because I will not take American literature as a separate day revision because 14th has come. It's too early, right? Okay, let's start, right? You will love it. A lot of novels here, a lot of new authors you'll hear the names of, but then they will help you. Question number 1. Which character in William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying narrates chapter 19 with only 5 words? My mother is a fish. Basically, which character says these lines? My mother is a fish. The options are A. Dewey Del Bundren, B. Vardhaman Bundren, C. Cash Bundren, or D. Jewel Bundren. This you understood? This is the story of Bundren family for sure. The answer is option B, Vardhaman Bundren. Now, Vardhaman Bundren's mother has just died. It is a family with many children. It is a disoriented family. They are not really very mentally stable. Now, when my mother dies, mother's name is Addie. She had a dying wish that she wants to be buried in her hometown of Mississippi. So basically, her family is taking her coffin from where they stay to their hometown. Literally, they are carrying the coffin. And in between, there are many misadventures. There's a river in which the coffin just flows away and such things, okay? Now, during this incident, when the coffin is literally flowing away, like Vardhaman does not know the meaning of death. According to Vardhaman, his mother is somewhere, but where we don't know. So he says, when the coffin is flowing, my mother is a fish. Imagine, nobody has told him the meaning of death. And in fact, there is a time in the novel when he's drilling holes in the coffin of his mother so that his mother can breathe, because he knows that mama is inside the coffin and mama needs oxygen to breathe. So he has drilled holes in the coffin. Imagine. Okay, so this is the novel As I Lay Dying. Please connect it with whatever I told you, story of Addie and the Bundren family. Addie is the mama who's just died, okay? And her coffin is being taken away. So As I Lay Dying, who is dead? Addie. And who has written As I Lay Dying? William Faulkner. Easy? Easy. And yeah, chapter 19 consists only of 5 words. One chapter consists only of 5 words. My mother is a fish. And the chapter is done with. Question number 2. This novel tells the story of twin brothers, Waldo, the man of reason and intellect, and Arthur, the innocent half-wit, the way their lives are inextricably intertwined. What is the name of this novel? So which novel talks of twin brothers? Their surname is Brown. So I can say which novel talks of Brown brothers, Waldo Brown and Arthur Brown. Option A, Wasp, B, The Tree of Man, C, The Vivisector, or D, The Solid Mandala. Tell me. It is option D, The Solid Mandala. Solid Mandala is by Australian author Patrick White, published in the year 1966, okay? And this story, The Solid Mandala, it focuses on the reunifying of the relationship of these two brothers, okay? Now, important, the setting of Solid Mandala is a fictional town of Sarasaparilla in Australia. Remember, sometimes settings come. So what is the setting of The Solid Mandala? It is a town of Sarasaparilla in Australia. And who has written The Solid Mandala? Patrick White. Talks of Brown brothers, Waldo Brown and Arthur Brown. Question number 3. Which novel by Australian novelist Peter Carey is a reworking of the Charles Dickens novel Great Expectations? So basically, Great Expectations was published in book form in 1861, whereas this novel by Peter Carey was published in 1997. And it is a reworking. This novel is a reworking of Great Expectations. Which novel is it? Option A, The Unusual Life of Tristan Smith. B, Jack Maggs. C, Theft, a Love Story. Or D, The Chemistry of Tears. Tell me. You know it? It is option B, Jack Maggs. Now, a little bit about the characters. See, in Jack Maggs, there is a character called as Maggs. He is a convict just out of prison. He's out there to search for his son. Okay. Now, Maggs in Jack Maggs is Abel Magwitch in Great Expectations. I'm telling you the parallels. Okay. So in Great Expectations, the character's name is Abel Magwitch, whereas in Jack Maggs, the name's character is Maggs. Okay. Now, again, in Jack Maggs, the character, the boy, okay, is Henry Phipps, who is the son of Maggs. Henry Phipps. His parallel in Great Expectations is Pip. Remember, the protagonist of the novel Great Expectations is Pip. Philip Pirip or Pip. Philip Pirip or Pip. So in Great Expectations, the character is Pip. And in Jack Maggs, the parallel character is Henry Phillips. Similarly, in Jack Maggs, there's a character called as Tobias Oates. Tobias Oates. This is same like Charles Dickens himself. Okay, easy, 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 right? So Peter Carey's novel called as Jack Maggs is a reworking of Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Question number 4. Identify the Nigerian author known as the mother of modern African literature. A. Toni Morrison, B. Flora Nwapa, C. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, or D. Buchi Emechita. Who is the mother of modern African literature? She is option B, Flora Nwapa. Imagine the mama, she's Flora. Don't forget, mother of modern African literature is Flora Nwapa. Why? Because she's the first woman in Africa to have a book edited in London. Okay. And second, she is, she was the first African woman who published a novel in English. The first African woman who published a novel in English, right? Flora lived from 1931 to 1993, and two of her very important novels are Idu and Ifuru. Tell me the two important novels of Flora, Idu and Ifuru. Her novels talk of success stories of African women. Like, before her, the male Africans, they wrote just the prototypical female women, confined to the house, gender inequality. But with Flora's novels, the females started getting independence. Okay? Easy. Question number 5. What holy animal does Okonkwo's clan suspect the Christians to have killed and eaten in Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart? So which animal is killed and eaten by the Christians? That is the suspect. Tell me. In Things Fall Apart. A, a tortoise, B, a monkey, C, a python, or D, a locust. Which animal is it? It is option C, a python. Well, Chinua Achebe's first novel is Things Fall Apart. It was published in the year 1958. It's a tragic novel in which, let me tell you, Okonkwo, who is the protagonist, when he is alive, he is respected by his clan. Of course, he has his time of exile when he has to leave his tribe and go away. But still, he is a man who has become great. People respect him. But when he dies, the people of his tribe do not want to touch him because he dies by suicide. And that is a tradition in their tribe that if someone kills himself, you cannot touch his dead body. That is why the name of the novel is Things Fall Apart. Things are not the same forever. Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, published in the year 1958. Easy, easy. Question number 6. Who is the protagonist of Carol Shields' novel, The Stone Diaries, published in 1993? So tell me the protagonist of The Stone Diaries. A, Judith Gill, B, Daisy Goodwill, C, Larry Weller, or D, Susanna Moody? Tell me. It is option B, Daisy Goodwill. In fact, The Stone Diaries is about the fictional autobiography of Daisy. Daisy has written a diary. That's why it's called The Stone Diaries. She writes a diary. It is a fictional autobiography. And this novel, The Stone Diaries, is actually divided into 10 chapters. And the names of these chapters are very neat. I want to discuss. The names are, for example, Birth, 1905. Childhood, 1916. Marriage, 1927. Sorrow, 1965. And the last chapter is Death, 1909, and then there is a dash. We don't know when does Daisy Goodwill die. Okay. So you understood? Daisy Goodwill's story is told in the Stone Diary, published in 1993. And who wrote it? Carol Shields. Carol Shields is an American-born Canadian novelist. Okay, easy. Question number 7. Which is the first poetry collection by Australian poet A.D. Hope? The first poetry collection by A.D. Hope is A. The Cave and the Spring, B. Chance Encounters, C. Ladies from the Sea, or D. The Wandering Islands? Tell me. The first poetry collection by A.D. Hope is option D, The Wandering Islands. Wandering Islands consist of total 39 poems, and the names are really different. For example, one name of the poem here is X-ray Photograph. There's also a poem called Pygmalion in it. There is a poem called Observation Car in it. Okay, so The Wandering Islands is the first poetry collection by A.D. Hope. Question number 8. In which language did Ngugi wa Thiong'o write after denouncing English as the language of creative expression? So basically, Ngugi, who is a Kenyan writer, initially wrote in English, but later he gave up English and started writing in his own language, in a Bantu language called as Gikuyu, right? So I've told you the answer already. Okay, I'm not reading the options. The answer is option B, Gikuyu. And let me tell you, Ngugi, in fact, is the founder of a Gikuyu language journal, which is called as Mutiri. Even this question can come. The journal that Ngugi has founded is Mutiri. And now you might ask, why has Gigu denounced English as a writing of expression? You know, this is when he became very sensitive about colonialism in Africa. Okay, therefore, he became an ardent nationalist and he just wants to write in his own language, right? Question number 9. Which of the following is not an apartheid novel, basically, which does not deal with the discrimination of the blacks? Okay, your options are A, Disgrace, B, A Sport of Nature, C, Songs of Enchantment, or D, Age of Iron. One novel out of these is not apartheid. It is Songs of Enchantment. It is a magic realism novel which talks of, tell me, Azaro. The protagonist of this novel, Songs of Enchantment, is Azaro, who is a spirit child, okay? So Disgrace, A Sport of Nature, and Age of Iron are all apartheid novels. Disgrace and Age of Iron are by J.M. Coetzee, whereas A Sport of Nature is by Nadine Gordimer. Easy, easy, don't you worry. Just relax, keep on breathing, and let me tell you, drink plenty of water. And whatever will happen for good. Don't be disheartened, be positive. You will be awesome because you are awesome, right? Question number 10. Which among the following is not a collection of stories by Alice Munro? Alice Munro, you know, is a Canadian writer and she's 91 years old right now. So which of these is not a collection of stories by Alice? A, Dance of the Happy Shades. B, Dear Life. C, Lives of Girls and Women. Or D, This Is My Letter to the World. Tell me. It is option D, This Is My Letter to the World, which is a very, very short poem by Emily Dickinson, published in the year 1890, which talks of frustration and hope. This Is My Letter to the World is by Emily Dickinson. Whereas by Alice Munro, tell me, Dance of the Happy Shades by Alice, Dear Life by Alice, Lives of Girls and Women by Alice. Okay, question number 11. Who is the famous protagonist of the allegorical novel Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka? A, Joseph K. B, Gregor Samsa. C, Frau Grubach. D, Rudy Block. Tell me, who is the protagonist of Metamorphosis? It is a salesman whose name is Gregor Samsa. Metamorphosis, you know, is a novella by Franz Kafka, published in the year 1915. It's an absurd fiction because Gregor, this salesman, sleeps one day. I told you yesterday also. He sleeps one night. The next morning, he wakes up as a cockroach. His family slowly gets frustrated of him. Initially, his sister supports him, but later they have nothing to eat because Gregor was the only bread earner. So now the father has to work. The sister has to work. And at the end of this novella, Gregor, who has become a cockroach, leaves the house, goes out and dies. That's Metamorphosis. Question number 12. Who among the following writers is from Kenya? A. Gabriel Okara, B. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, C. Chinua Achebe, or D. Ama Ata Aidoo? I just told you a few questions back. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, a Kenyan writer. Yes, so the answer is Ngugi. Now, Ngugi is from Kenya. Kenya is a country in East Africa, whereas Gabriel and Chinua, both of them are from Nigeria, which is a country in West Africa. And Ama Ata Aidoo is from Ghana. Ghana is also in West Africa. So Nigeria and Ghana are in West Africa, whereas Kenya is in East Africa, and Ngugi is from Kenya. Okay, they all are countries in Africa, right? Question number 13. The play A Dance of the Forest of 1960 is a half satirical celebration of Nigerian independence written by A. J.P. Clark, B. Olive Schreiner, C. Wole Soyinka, or D. Chinua Achebe. Who has written A Dance of the Forest? It's a play. It is option C, Wole Soyinka, a very, very famous play. It talks about a dead man and a dead woman who have come to life to tell their story in the forest. That is why it's called A Dance of the Forest, right? Easy. Wole is a Nigerian writer. Let's move. Question number 14. Who is the author of the well-known poem Heaven's Gate? Who has written Heaven's Gate poem? A. Christopher Okigbo, B. Wole Soyinka, C. Adarmi Bam Ikunle, or D. Dennis Brutus. Who has written Heaven's Gate? It is option A, Christopher Okigbo. The starting lines of Heaven's Gate are, quote, passage or the passage. So the narrator or the poet is saying, before you, Mother Idoto, naked I stand. Before your watery presence, a prodigal learning on an oil bean lost in your legend. Basically, Christopher has used this Mother Idoto very usually in all his works, okay? Mother Idoto is a water goddess who is a symbol of oil bean, tortoise, and python. Okay, so Mother Idoto is referred in The Heaven's Gate, which is a poem by Christopher Okigbo, right? And this poem, Heaven's Gate, talks of man's quest for the ultimate truth or spiritual truth, right? This takes us to question number 15. In Tsitsi Dangarembga's novel, Nervous Condition, what is the name of the protagonist who strives for education and personal growth? Who is the protagonist of the novel Nervous Condition? A. Nyasha, B. Tambu, C. My Guru, or D. Babamukuru? Babamukuru. Okay, it is option B, Tambu. Now see, this is the debut novel of Tsitsi. Who is Tsitsi? She's a Zimbabwean novelist and a filmmaker, okay? And now, what about this story, Nervous Conditions? Basically, Tambu, all her life, her growing years, she wants to educate herself. She has connected herself strictly to self-growth and education, so much that she becomes extremely aware of things around her, happenings, of what people are thinking about her. She has this nervous condition, and that is what is spoken about in Nervous Condition, the story of Tambu. Who has written Nervous Condition? Tsitsi Dangarembga. And Tsitsi is a Zimbabwean novelist and a filmmaker, and this is her first novel. When was Nervous Conditions published? In the year 1988. It's a semi-autobiographical novel, let me tell you. Okay, easy, easy, easy. Question number 16. Which novel by Jamaica Kincaid tells the story of a young Caribbean girl navigating her identity and relationships with her family and society? A. The God of Small Things, B. Lucy, C. White Teeth, or D. Half of a Yellow Sun? Who has written this novel? I mean, Jamaica Kincaid has written. Tell me. It is, the protagonist's name is also that. It is option B, Lucy. Now, Jamaica Kincaid, I will first tell you about Lucy. Lucy and Jamaica, they both are the same. Even Jamaica, when she was little, was sent by her mother because she was very poor. She belonged from a poor family. Her mother had many children. So to support these children, her mother, Jamaica, the author's mother, sent her away to New York to become an au pair to a wealthy family. What's an au pair? A person who takes care of your house, your children, I think as good as a domestic help. Okay, you stay at their house, you clean for them, you cook for them, you take care of their house. So you leave your country and you go to someone else's country as an au pair. You leave your place and go to some other person's place. Jamaica ke saath ye hua tha in her childhood. So she wrote a story called Lucy, which talks of this girl Lucy, who at the age of 19, she is told to leave West Indies and come to US. In US, her employer is Mariah. In Mariah, she sees her mother, caring, but then very dominating. Lucy does not want to go back to her house in West Indies, but she misses her grandmother's food. Lucy then starts educating herself in America. She becomes a writer. This is an autobiographical novel of Jamaica Kincaid. Lucy tells the story of a Caribbean girl who becomes an au pair, leaves her house, goes to America, serves someone else. Okay? This takes us to question number 17. Who is the author of the novel The Dark Child, which provides a vivid account of his childhood in Guinea? A. Ama-Ata Aidu, B. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, C. Camara Lay, or D. Jamaica Kincaid? Who has written The Dark Child? Tell me. It is option C, Camara Lay. Camara Lay, well, he is a writer from Guinea, a country in West Africa. And Camara lived from 1928 to 1980. Okay. Now, in the US, first, let me tell you, The Dark Child was published in French. This is important. The Dark Child by Camara Lay was published in French in the year 1953. Then in US, it was published in the year 1954. While in UK, the name of The Dark Child changed and it became The African Child. And it was published in the year 1959. And the complete title is The Dark Child, the autobiography of an African boy. It talks of Camara Lay. Okay, it is an autobiography. Easy, easy. Let's go to question number 18. Who is the author of the post-colonial novel Paradise, which delves into themes of race, gender, and communal tensions in an all-black town called Ruby? It's a very interesting work. Your options are A. Toni Morrison, B. Jamaica Kincaid, C. Derek Walcott, or D. Buchi Emechita. Who has written Paradise? A very famous novelist. Toni Morrison, an American novelist who lived from 1931 to 2019. Now, in this novel, Paradise, Toni, she's a girl you know. Well, Toni, she talks of a town called as Ruby, where these black people, they have confined themselves to save them from racism. This is their utopian society. So Ruby is the utopian society of black people. They are saving themselves from racism. White people are not allowed in Ruby. But now, here, communal tensions begin. How? The dark-skinned people in the black, they start discriminating against the light-skinned people, black. The blacks discriminate against the black on the basis of the color of their skin, the dark black and the light black. Imagine. So this is what Paradise by Toni Morrison is all about. Okay, let's move on to question number 19. Who is the author of the novel Cereus Blooms at Night, which examines issues of gender, sexuality, and oppression in a fictional Caribbean town? Options: A. Jean Rees, B. Jamaica Kincaid, C. Shani Mutu, or D. Buchi Emechita. Who has written Cereus Blooms at Night? It is option C, Shani Mutu. Shani is a writer from Dublin, Ireland. Then her childhood was spent in Trinidad, Caribbean, and then she moved to Canada. So she has moved to many places. Cereus is a cactus. What is cereus? It's a type of a cactus. So cactus blooms at night. And this novel tells the story of an old lady called Mala from the point of view of a nurse called as Tyler. So Tyler Nurse tells the story of an old lady Mala in Cereus Blooms at Night by Shani Mutu. Easy, easy. And the last question of the day is, who is the author of the novel Ceremony, which combines Native American and post-colonial themes to explore the effects of colonization on indigenous culture? A. Louis Edrich, B. Leslie Marmon Silko, C. N. Scott Momaday, or D. Toni Morrison. Who has written Ceremony? It is option B, Leslie Marmon Silko. You should look at Leslie on internet. She herself looks very tribal in her appearance. She belongs to a tribal community in America. And the name of this tribal community is Laguna Pueblo. Laguna Pueblo. So in her work, because Leslie herself was from a tribal community, she wrote a novel called A Ceremony, which talks about ceremonies. What are ceremonies? Rituals, the different practices that are followed by a community. So Leslie talks of ceremonies of two native tribes of America. These native tribes are Pueblo, to which she belongs, and Navajo. So ceremony novel talks of ceremonies of native tribal Americans of Pueblo and Navajo. And who has written Ceremony? Leslie Marmon Silko. And we are done. आज तो बहुत सारे novels discuss किए, right? Tomorrow I will come with Indian literature. I hope this series it's helping you, and the questions here are really important. Around it, you will find authors and works that we are sure of. This is Hina from Team Walat. Take very good care of yourself. Keep smiling and don't forget to spend time with your family. Okay? Love you. Take care. Bye-bye. All the best.